Before we get to this episode within the Time to Train podcast, I want to remind you of all the great workouts we have across the Time to Train family of brands. We have Barre with McCall. We have cycling with Kelly. If you're in the 55 plus community, there's Mary Draper's channel. If you're into HIIT workouts, HIIT cardio, dumbbell workouts, you can catch me, Tyler Valencia, on the screen with any of those. Make sure you subscribe to all our channels within the Time to Train family, and I'll catch you on the screen.
Welcome to the Time to Train Fitness podcast, where we talk about everything from fitness tips to wellness tips and get everything in between. My name is Kelly Favre, and I am the cycling instructor here with Time to Train Fitness. And I am so excited to be here on this podcast today because I have a special guest, a fellow YouTube cycling instructor, Joe Alvarado. And it's so great to come together and be with someone who does the things that I do. And what we're going to talk about today is something a little different. We are going to talk about behind the scenes, because I don't know about you, Joe, but I know that I get questions like, how do you make your workouts? What do you guys do? So I thought this would be a great time that we could kind of just chat and talk about our processes, and listen to what you have to say. And also maybe hit some tips for those listeners out there, maybe people that are wanting to try online workouts or online cycling workouts. So anyways, thank you for coming on today. Welcome. I can't wait to get into all this with you. I purposely didn't talk a lot with you before, so we could kind of just go with it. And in the beginning, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, give us a little background, how you got into cycling and how you got into the online world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I love the podcast. Love what we're doing. And what you said like right away is I'm excited because I think if memory serves me right, I'm getting a little up there, but this is the first time where I've been able to communicate with just a cycle instructor like on a podcast. So I'm pumped for sure. My name is Joe Alvarado, again, as you announced. Always been active growing up. I do actually like mountain biking and being outdoor and stuff like that. That changed when I went into a spin class. I don't even like calling it spin, but they call it spin. I like calling it indoor cycling, right? But that changed several years back, maybe 15 years ago, when I walked into a cycling studio. Just fell in love with it. I've always loved music. I've always loved community. I love rhythm riding. Like, I didn't even know it was a thing until I hopped into a class and just fell in love with it. I really, really enjoyed the class or the community, the class, all the above, and just never looked back. I mean, there's a story behind that, but at the end of the day, like, just an indoor cycling class, whether that's live or virtual, is just, there's nothing like it. It's just so fun.
That is so true. And it's so funny. You took classes. My certification, when I got certified, was the first time I had ever sat on a spin bike.
Wow.
So coming out of that certification, I was kind of like, what did I get myself into? But I fell in love with it just like you. And it is honestly, I teach a lot of formats, which I'm sure you teach other ones too, but it is probably my favorite and will always be my first love.
Hey, we're speaking the same language.
Yes.
Let's put it this way. I've been doing this for so long now that this used to be dark. Now it's not, right? There's some wisdom there. We're going to spit some wisdom on this podcast right now.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I have
evidence. All right. No.
Evidence. Love it. Well, what made you go from in-person cycling to online cycling? And do you still teach in person?
Yes. So yes. And I do teach, I still teach in person.
Okay.
I think, it was a combination of my love for technology, video, things that I grew up doing in church, and COVID. I mean, it was a combination of the two. Like, I knew, I had never done it until, the lockdowns, things like that. I hate even saying those words anymore. It's like,
I know,
but that's the reality. That's when it started. And I just was already familiar with how to stream and how to get good sound and how to use cameras and all of that. So it just felt like it was something. I love technology. I love cycling. And I'm like, let's just put the two together. I know how to do it. Yeah, that's kind of what led me into the online. And I've taught in person for over 12, 13, 14, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love both. I really do. I mean, they're both ways that I can share with the world, whether that be people in front of me or people on the other side of a camera. Just a shared fun workout, right? Where we're all like continuing to take care of the one and only bodies we have, having fun with music and just encouraging one another at the same time. So it's just, you just can't beat it. You really can't. So
you're right. They each bring, because I also teach in person and online as well, and they each have their own special fun things about them. Like you do stuff online that you can't do in person. You do stuff in person you can't do online. So you kind of get the best of both worlds doing it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
well,
good.
Let's talk about our processes, because I think a lot of people think that we just set a camera up, we press record, and we hop on our bikes, we do our thing, and then we end and upload it. But I know that that that's not what goes on. So walk me through a little bit, like, I guess maybe we should start with how do you come up with your ride, first of all, because I know that's a whole other ball game that's not technology related. So let's start there first. What's your creative process? How do you come up with your rides? Do you go by themes? Do you use music? What goes through your head?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. So one of the fun things about indoor cycling is, although we're on a stationary bike, we're technically not going anywhere. You could only pedal so fast and so slow, right? It's basically the same movements, come up and come back down, a couple of different positions. But with the indoor cycling experience, when it comes to building a class, you can, to your point, sometimes there is a theme. Sometimes it's like the theme today is climbing, or the theme today is celebrating, or the theme today is I don't know. Maybe it's a holiday theme. It's
burpees.
Yes, burpees. So there's different themes, and so you can build the class around a theme. Maybe even dress the part. You know what I mean? Like maybe So there's different ways to build a themed class, so that the theme is like the main focus. Today, it's all about bikes and burpees or whatever it's, and you just build it around that theme. So that's one way to build a class. Another way to build the class is around the music. And so sometimes, like, you're really inspired, and I know we speak the same language when I talk about this, but you're really inspired by music, maybe even one song. And one song for me, sometimes I'll hear one song and I will actually title my whole class based off that one song. Like, there's a song recently that I just kind of like was drawn to, and it's called Word Dynamite. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to name this the Word Dynamite, like 30-minute indoor cycling class, because it was just it was music driven. Right. And so music, at that point, then it's a music driven class where I'll map out the music, the BPMs of the music, the beats per minute, always match the RPMs. As we say, the RPMs are the revolutions per minute on a bike. And so they're always the same. And so you can go through and map those out and use the music as a guiding force, if you will. And then there's more of a metric type of class. So the metric class is less music focused, although music's always important, but we're not so focused on following the rhythm. We're more focused on achieving a certain goal.
Right.
That could be a distance goal. That could be X amount of intervals inside of 10 minutes. That could be steady state cardio, like whatever the goal. It could be a ladder, it could be a Tabata. So it's more goal driven than it is music driven. And so you have themes, you have music purpose or music driven classes, and you have metric driven classes. You also can do power zones. Like there's power zone classes where we're achieving a certain zone. There's heart rate based training, and so there's so many different ways to do the same thing on a bike that goes nowhere, right?
That's true.
And still have fun, and make it unique each and every time. So, for me, it's just sometimes I'll go online, I'll see one of your classes, I'll see one of Kaylee's classes, I'll see, and then I'll be inspired too by you guys, because I'm like, man, I hadn't thought of that. That's so cool. I'm going to kind of borrow from that idea and
great. Or all you want.
Yes. Thank you. But yeah, I hope that answers that question. Yeah.
No, it does, because I go do the same process as you, but listening to you say it all at one time, it's like, wow, we really do a lot when we're coming up with these classes. We don't just sit down and go, okay, I think we're going to do 30 minutes of this today. I mean, we really think about each song, each beats per minute. Like you said, the theme, I mean, it just all comes together, and it's really a lot of work.
It is. And I recently released a series. So there's another way to do it. Like you could do a whole series of rides. So I did an endurance series where I started out with a 30-minute ride. And then the next week it was 40, then 50, then 60, then 70, then 80, and then all the way to an hour and a half. So I added 10 minutes each week, and that became a series slash metric based, goal metric based ride. And so that was a ton of fun. And then there's tools, and I'm sure that you have your tools. I would love to know what tools you use, but there's a couple of websites that I'll use. I use Spotify for the most part for designing the playlist. Now, when I say I use Spotify, I'll make this clear. Those of us and that are online, we have to use copy-free music or music that we can still, that won't be blocked, that's not mainstream, right? That
royalty-free.
Yes, royalty-free. That's there's an Aussie that goes to that. One of my instructors is an Aussie, and she says it's copy-free. So I have that word. Royalty-free is what I'm really trying to say. Yeah, royalty-free. And so the cool thing about Spotify is like we'll go to a site like both you and I use, like Epidemic Music, and then Epidemic Music also has the same music on Spotify, and so I could build out the songs that I pick from Epidemic in Spotify. And then there's websites like Sort Your Music. One that I recently used, I'm looking at it here, it's called Kosick. And basically what it does is it takes my playlist and all the songs that I just kind of fell in like with or love with, whatever, and I could sort them. So I'll sort them by BPM. So it right away goes, and all of a sudden now I have more options for the type of class that I want to do. So I have 2 songs, 3 songs that are, 65 BPMs right away. That's going to be like a climb track, and some that have a higher cadence, maybe 80, 90, 100. And we can do something that if it's rhythm based rather,
Right. Of course.
And so, and then that particular site downloads to an Excel spreadsheet file. So now I'm taking my Epidemic playlist that I built in Spotify, that I sorted out in Kosick. I download it to an Excel spreadsheet, and then put all my notes in, and then it becomes a masterpiece, right? So that's kind of my process.
A quick promo break in the Time to Train podcast. If you're unfamiliar with Naboso Performance products, I gotta say, go check them out now. Head to the link in the description to find out more and hopefully purchase one. For myself, I used to have foot pain from sitting at a desk all day. Getting up and wanting to be active was a chore. I didn't want to do it. Each step hurt, and it didn't make me want to do more sets, go that extra mile, whatever that might be with my own health. I first invested in some Naboso Duo insoles, and it changed my perspective on foot care. After that, I got the standing mat. If you work at a standing desk, I got the wobble board here for working on my balance. I got toe splays. I invested in a lot of different foot care items, neuro items that have really helped my own performance. Check them out at the link in the description and hopefully purchase your first one today.
You are the organized tech guy for this, because your process is very organized and very technological. I think I need to take a training from you. I still do the old method of paper and pencil. So,
well, it's whatever works too. That's the other
true.
thing. It's whatever works. if you ask me, maybe 6 months from now, I'll probably tell you a whole other process because I'm like, oh, I figured this out or did that or whatever, So,
but that's kind of half the fun. Like when you find new ways to do things, and it makes life easier and makes your ride better and eases your job because, okay, so you figured out your ride, you've got your music set. And then, so that took, who knows how long. Could take days. It could take hours. We don't know. Depends on our creative juices and how they're flowing.
Yes.
Then you have to tape it. So give a little idea of taping day.
Yes. So that's kind of where I start, what I just described. I end up with a spreadsheet that has my notes, and the notes will tell me where I'm headed. And to your point, like once we get that down, I feel like we can enjoy the ride and deliver it because we're not thinking anymore. We already did the thinking with putting the class together.
True.
So now we could look in the camera or our live class and just say, hey, my name's Joe. We're going to spend 30 minutes together. We're doing a Tabata ride today. And like, you already know what you're doing. You don't have to worry about the drops. You don't have to worry about how many intervals because you already have it done. And so that being prepared process, as you know, helps the delivery method, or it helps with how we can deliver in a way that we're not thinking about it anymore. And so, and you asked I'm sorry. I got lost in what I was saying.
No problem. I know, like taping day for me.
Yes, taping day. Yeah,
it's almost like a 2-part process. Like the night before, I have to set up my 3 cameras I've got to get my. I don't know if you use I know you're fancy and you have an iPad, but I use like a big whiteboard that I write everything on. So, how does it work for you on the day you go to film?
So, So what I'll do is once I have my notes down, I will have that spreadsheet on my iPad. So if you look behind me on this side, my bike. So if I move right here, this is my studio, right? I don't want to move away from the mic too much, but I'm literally sitting at my desk. I move this mic away and I come back and my bike's right behind me. So I have my notes on my iPad and I'll play my playlist from my phone. I'll Bluetooth it to my Rodecaster. I have my mic and record it through OBS. My cameras are already set in place. So I have this camera that we're using for interviews, for meetings, things like that. It's right here, it never moves. But I have a camera above me. And then I have 4 cameras, one here, one above, one that this is like my main straight shot right here. And then I have one up here that kind of has like a top down view of me. And then I have the side view. And then I have like the view where you see the flywheel when you're doing a sprint or whatever, something kind of fun. And so the way I've designed mine is I use the virtual Stream Deck. And with the Stream Deck, I can change camera angles while I'm riding.
So cool.
And so I just hit record from the Stream Deck. I hit my intervals from the Stream Deck. I change my camera angles. So I'm literally self-producing it in real time. And what that does for me is once I'm done, it's done. There's there's no editing anymore I have to do because all the camera angles were built in, all the intervals were built in, all the RPE charts built in. And then I'll go back and optimize the volumes of everything. So it is, it's a lot, but in the end, for me, at least the way that I produce my content, it's the most efficient for my time, I guess, so then
how long would you say from, I realize sometimes it takes a couple days to do the whole process, but if you were, put it all together, how long do you think from the time you start writing your workout out or, getting your music together to basically hitting upload onto YouTube, do you think it takes you? Just ballpark.
Yeah. I would say
for a 30-minute class, let's just say 30-minute class.
Yeah. 30-minute class so we're talking putting the playlist together to organizing the playlist to deciding what you want to do, what kind of ride, to setting up the studio, hitting record, post edit. I would say 3 hours on average. Something
Good.
like
That's good. That's
give or
good.
take. Give or
I thought you
take.
were going to say a lot more.
Yeah. I've worked on scaling it down. It could be more though, as you know,
Yeah.
it just depends. Sometimes you get like a writer's block. And
Oh,
like,
yes.
yeah, you have all this music and you love it, but you just don't know what to do with it. Or you're not sure like,
Or vice versa. I'll have the ideas and then I can't find the right piece of music that goes
right.
with what I want to do. And that's hard.
Yes.
And, going back to like royalty free music, I have to say in the beginning, I was a little like, I don't know so much about that.
Weird.
But honestly, I kind of have come to really like it almost for the mainstream music.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? What do you think?
I'm exactly in the same thing. Like I really struggled early on. I was like, no, there's no way. I'm not familiar with the music. I don't know who those artists are. Right. And nobody else does either. So why are they going to listen to it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's all this pressure. Right. And so I made, a lot of mistakes in trying to not use royalty free and just use whatever I wanted to, coming to find out they're demonetized with YouTube, coming to find out that some of them get blocked. Some of them get, there's all these crazy things that'll happen online. And then the crazy thing that happened with my channel is that I grew because I had like 90s and 80s rock that was demonetized. So the channel grew, but I got nothing for it. There was like so it was just like grow, but you see nothing because they're demonetized,
Yeah.
And so I had to go back, to your point, and learn to embrace Epidemic, Volumes, Music Bed. There's a lot of different ones out there and they're really good. I mean, I think in my mind, I remember, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, there was these apps that had like Go Music Now or whatever. And they were so like, for lack of a better way, so cheesy, so like corny.
The same. Yep.
Yeah. And some person singing like the original with just a constant steady, 124 beat or whatever, And I just, in my mind, that's what I thought it all was. And it's totally not that. There's some amazing artists out there. And YouTube has even launched a whole volume of royalty-free catalogs where you can use forever free now, And so there's a lot of options. And I agree. There's some great, great music. I've learned to love it.
Me too. And, I used to think like, participants, they want to sing along, which could be true. But at the same token, I think you can find the music that drives it and then they focus and the music is still taking them on that journey. Like you were talking about going fast, climbing. And even though they can't sing along, but I think they can feel it and they can almost focus more on the goal that you as a instructor have set for them.
Yes.
I don't know. So I was curious what your thoughts were on the whole royalty.
Completely agree. Yeah. In fact, this might be a little bit too much information, but when you are, when you, so YouTube rewards you for certain levels of membership and watch hours and things like that.
Right.
And I had looked on my dashboard and it said, I couldn't find, I realized that I achieved a certain amount of subscribers and watch hours to be able to get the join now button. And that's that button where you could say, all right, support me for $2.99, $4.99, whatever it might be. Yeah. And so, but it was like grayed out on mine, but I met the qualifications. So I'm like, why is it grayed out? So I emailed them and they said, you have too many demonetized videos for you to even use that feature. And so I went through and deleted like almost every class that I had with mainstream music. Okay. And then finally today, as we're recording this, like a few hours ago, I have the button now.
Really?
I'm like, yes. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Like
congratulations.
So people could join, support that way now. So it's just another way to
support Joe. Yeah.
I'm
press the button.
Yeah, please.
But yes, I'm super, super pumped about that. I just didn't know why I couldn't see it, but yeah, it turns out. Yeah.
I'm glad you got it fixed, because sometimes emailing those companies can be quite frustrating.
Yeah.
But well, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we covered. I think people, if you're any of you out there listening to this, can kind of get the feel now that this is not just a get on mic, press record, and upload process. We actually do put a lot of thought and process into this.
Yes.
But let's step away from that. Let's just have a little fun. Let's talk about Joe. Let's talk about, like, okay, when you're not doing these online workouts, what do you like to do?
You know, I love, so I work at Lifetime. I'm what they call a studio leader there. And I guess the way that what fills me is being around people, being around community, helping people, you know, and again, whether that's online or in person, right. But just speaking of outside of the online space, yes. I just love being around people. I love my church community. I love my gym community. So I love that interaction. I also love technology, I guess. Some of the things that I like to do is figure out new ways to, and I hate to keep going back to cycle, but I'm so into it. Like I'm like, what new, in fact, I was telling you right now that I have this new teleprompter that allows me to look straight into the camera while I'm still, and see this interview at the same time, which this is the first time I'm using that too. So those I just love tech, you know, I love finding new things. I do like, my family and I, we like to travel. We like to go different places every year, at least once a year. We'll try to go to a different country. We'll try to do something that go somewhere where we haven't been, you know, some kind of a bucket list thing. I went to Colombia recently. We go to Puerto Rico a lot, which is where her family is from.
Oh, fun. One place I've never been that I want to go to.
Puerto Rico? Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Our church denomination, they have annual conferences. So they have it in different states like Washington, Hawaii, you know, California. And so we take advantage of going to a conference, and then we'll stay a few extra days because it might be a place that we haven't been to. So definitely love to travel. I do like to get out on my mountain bike when I can. This season of my life's a little busy, so I haven't gotten out as much. We have a little dog. She's our little princess, a little Aspen Petal. And that's not a flower petal. That is a bike pedal is why we call her Aspen. So love animals. Yeah, I think, I'm sure there's more. I love podcasts. I love listening to just all kinds of different podcasts where I can learn. I'm like I love to soak in information, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be fitness related. It can be whatever. I mean, whatever is going on in the world, whether that be news or whether that be just a topic that I'm curious about, you know, love listening to them. So it's pretty normal for me to listen to like a 2 or 3 hour podcast, you know, not all at once, obviously. No. 20 minutes on the way to work, you know, a few minutes here, and then it all adds up. You finish the podcast. So love that as well. So yeah.
Well, good. Well, cool.
Good.
Let's see. Okay. The last thing I think that would be good for our listeners, because I know we might have some instructors, we might have some participants. So New Year's coming up, 2024.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could share any tips with our listeners out there, maybe people that are wanting to try online workouts, or any motivation that you can give them to just kind of get them started, let them not be scared. Because I do think some people are afraid of online workouts. Maybe they're afraid they're not at the level that you seem to be or that you're teaching. You and I both know that anybody can take our workouts, but sometimes I think it's hard to explain that. So I don't know, just give me some tips or give our listeners some tips or advice on what they can do to start their 2024 off right.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I try to do, and I'll lead into the answer of that is, and you do the same, is when we start a class, we make it really clear. Like if I do something that isn't, right for your body, or it seems a little fast, or you're recovering from something, you don't have to do it. Like do what. And so I think one of the things that as instructors, we always try to encourage everybody, like do what works for you today. Like you don't have to do everything that we do. Right. And the wonderful thing about indoor cycling is you're in control of the resistance knob.
Yes.
You're in control of how much workload you're putting on. And so nobody's looking, nobody's verifying, nobody's looking at your, nobody, it's you and me. It's you and, you and Callie, it's you and Kaylee, it's you, whatever. Yes. And it's none of us are judging. No, we want everybody to be healthy and have fun, Right. And so I would say, first of all, know that you are in complete control of the workout. And even if you do 10 minutes of a 30-minute workout just to start, and watch the rest of it, so we get our watch hours. No, I'm just kidding. No,
no, he's not kidding.
Just hit play.
He's not kidding.
What's funny is, sorry, I get so sidetracked, but there's a few of my classes where I've said, hey, if you don't have time because what happens with online cycling, somebody will go check it out and decide to ride later. So you'll see like people drop off after a minute or two. And it hurts our watch time, right? Sometimes I'll say that on a video. I'm like, hey, if you're just checking this out, just hit play and put your phone away. Come back to it later, but just let the whole class play, And
yes,
I feel like I was almost at 50% on one of my classes for watch time. I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. Anyway, sorry, I totally sidetracked.
No, it's so true. You just said what we all think.
Yes. I just asked my subs, I'm like, you guys, my cycle fam is what I call my cycle family. And so I would say you're in control of the workout. Nobody's here to judge you. We're all for you. I would encourage everyone to get into a program, start a program. In other words, what I'm doing, and I'm wearing the shirt. I hope I can, it says burn. So I'm actually doing my first 30-day fat burning challenge in January. Like, I don't know when this is going to release, but it's going to live forever anyway.
Right.
But it's a program where, subscribers, you pay $7, or if you're on my Patreon, it's free. And it just follows a program. There's meal plans included. There's all this, but anytime you can get with the community, it's that much easier to stay connected. Yeah, to stay committed, whether that be in person or online. So if you're online and you're joining something like this, you're going to find a community online that's going to support you. If you go in person, you're going to find a classroom and an instructor that's going to support you. And so make some goals. In setting goals and developing or integrating yourself in a community is really going to help you hang in there, especially when times get tough.
True.
Yeah. So true. And I would encourage, somebody too, that if you find yourself, loving online, but maybe you just aren't motivated one day to sit on your bike in your garage, in your basement, whatever, go to a gym and take your phone with you and do one of our classes in public. You know what I mean? Get your headphones on, get around other people, and there might not be a live class going on, but we're on demand. We're there for you, and some of the coolest things that one of the coolest things I've ever seen is I'll go to the gym where I work, because I'm responsible for the, in the classes, the schedule, all the above. And I'll walk through the gym and I'll see somebody watching one of my classes on a bike, and they're in the gym, but they're taking one of my classes on their phone. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, hey, by the way, that's me, and,
I'm waiting for that to happen to me. Like I'm waiting for the day. I hope it happens soon, because it'd be so exciting.
It'll happen.
I always think too, like for people that don't have a bike at home, maybe you're listening to this and you don't have a bike at home.
Yes.
Take us to your gym. Like
Yes.
you said, you can, and then people that say, oh, my gym doesn't have a class at, whatever time. I've got a class for you.
Hey, we will wake up at midnight. We'll wake up at 2 a.m. We'll wake up at 7 a.m.
We'll be there.
We will be there for you. Kelly and I are committed. We're ready.
Yes, I agree 100%. Oh my gosh. It's so nice to connect with someone that has the exact same thoughts.
Yes. Yes. I love it. So yeah, get with the community, have a goal, know you're not going to be judged. Know that indoor cycling is everybody's at a different level. There's no way you can compare yourself, nor should you ever with anyone else. You're there for your own health and to have a community that's going to support you. So let's go.
And my only two cents would be to add on to that, because that is exactly how I feel, would be to go ahead and start now.
Yes.
Like, there's no reason to wait till 2024. You might as well, if you want to do it, just start it, because there's no time like the time now.
Yes.
And I always tell my riders and my people that some days you're a fitness rock star and you kill it and it is the best.
Yes.
Other days you're not, and that's okay.
It's
it's
fine.
okay, because tomorrow is a whole new day. And at least you came, you pressed play, and you made it till the end. And if you didn't, you just let it play till the end.
Love it. Preach it.
Yes.
That's good. Come on.
No, I love it.
Well, this has been fabulous. I have enjoyed every second of this conversation, and I hope maybe we can come together and do another one. So if anyone out there listening has an idea for us, I'm happy to come back on here with Joe.
Yes.
And also give me your links, your handles, or where everybody can find you, so that when they're looking for you, they can know where to hit subscribe and watch.
Yeah. So my Instagram is just @JA_cycle. I'm pretty active on Instagram. And so please reach out, like message me, like I'll reply. You could ask any of my cycle fam. They'll ask me a question. I'll reply to you. Obviously at Joe Alvarado for YouTube. I have a TikTok. I could send you the links.
Well, send me all the links, and I'll make sure they get put in the show notes, so that way everybody can find you. So
yes. Yeah. So connect with me. I love hearing from you. We love, and I'm sure you'd agree with this, Kelly. We love the comments. We love the shares. We love the likes. One of the things that I would, encourage everybody to do, if you wanted to help us, and it's not always about like supporting us monetarily, but it is sharing the video. It is liking the video. It's commenting on the video, because what it does is it tells YouTube that you're interested and people are interested. And then when other people go to look for indoor cycling workouts, because of your comments and your interest, they say, hey, you may like Kelly, you may like Joe, you may like, and so it puts us in front of a bigger audience. And so I would say, if you've appreciated anything that either Kelly and I have done in this space, that's the best compliment that we could have, is share, like, comment, and that really helps us. I know YouTubers say it a lot, but it is the truth. It really does help us. Yeah.
In fact, the greatest compliment you can give to me is to share my workout with somebody else. Say, hey, try this. So I agree 100%. 100%. Well, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me here, Joe, with Time to Train Fitness. I look forward. Hopefully we can have a round 2 sometime soon. And thank you to all the listeners out there. Please go find Joe, like, subscribe, watch, whatever you can do to help us continue to grow and to continue to bring you all quality indoor cycling workouts. So until next time, have a great day and keep moving.